That's right, you heard me. I'm a married single mom. And what do I mean by that? I mean that um, my husband plays baseball 7 months out of the year. And so, 7 months out of the year, I am parenting three children alone for the most part. I go to all of the activities. I handle all the business here at the house. And at the end of the summer, we go for visits. But even when we go to visit him for those 2.5 months, my husband's only home for 2 weeks out of the month. So, unless I travel with my entire family, three children, all under six, and go with him, we don't see my husband but for 2 weeks out of those months during the summer. The rest of the time, I'm doing everything by myself. And by everything, I mean the drop offs, the pickups, scheduling the appointments, taking the kids to do all of their things, the birthday parties, the kindergarten graduations, the after school clubs, the all of the.
You know how many women would switch places with her in a heartbeat? Some of these women have to go into the office and get, I mean, and as men already know this, but women are finding out that, hey, I don't know working in the office is like something I want to do long term. I need to find somebody to save me. Like, we see people like Aisha Curry and Sierra. We see a lot of people that have these wives, or even, Michelle Obama. We see a lot of these wives that are taking these unnecessary digs and shots at their husband. And she's talking about all this, what else are you going to fucking do? That's what I want to know. What else are you going to do? Would you rather be in a goddamn office? Would you have to like ask your boss, "Hey, I need PTO to enjoy my life with my family"? Like, I don't understand why she's having such an issue, or why a lot of these, um, you know, the comments are going to show that they don't agree with her. But it's like she still felt comfortable enough to put this out there.
Yeah, any woman who goes to social media to vent about her relationship, your stuff is cooked. Here's the thing about baseball that I don't follow baseball in a huge way, but I know enough about it to know you pretty much choose very, very early in high school to pursue that as a career.
Right.
Why is that important here? Because you knew what the fuck you. Oh, I told myself I was gonna stop
Yeah.
cussing in 2025.
Family show. You see
Because
family show.
you knew what the hell you were getting yourself into from the
Said
jump.
hell.
You had multiple kids with this dude. You know that baseball has a very heavy schedule. So why are you complaining about this now? That's number one. Number two, I've said this before, TR. I see it all the time. I see so many married women who wish they were single. This is step
Yeah.
one of the streets are knocking, and I think I'm going to answer the call. Watch yourself, dude.
Bait
Because
and
I just look.
switch.
I don't like pocket watching. Sorry, my allergies acting up. I don't like pocket watching other dudes, but I know he's the most recent update I saw. He signed the biggest contract he's ever had so far. I know he's still working and progressing up his career. He's on his way to being a millionaire. I'm looking at the background of their house right now. It looks like a pretty nice house. Um, what's the problem? What is he providing? I get that he's got this crazy schedule. You know it's not going to be forever. You know he's going to make concessions as he gets more into his career to have more balance and spend more time. But what are you asking for? What do you want? Because to me, this screams like I'm crying for attention. This reminds me of when Aisha Curry went on what the Red Table Talk. It said that she sometimes misses getting attention from other
Oh, yeah.
men. This is a call for attention, Tr.
Yeah. She also had like a follow up to that stuff, like on the Zaddy podcast though, which is you know, maybe we'll get to that though. But this is like really bad though, because on one hand, you have your wife who's just telling the world, not you, telling the world. So either she's doing this just for clicks or she really means it. But it says she's doing it for clicks. So she's selling out your selling out your marriage for this? Like, this is really bad. And then you got kids, they're like, "Hey, bro, is your mom okay? Like, does she need me to come through?" Like, she appears to be unhappy.
Or
Like,
going back to that earlier story, maybe one of the friends will call her and be like, "Hey, I could use a woman's perspective on something. Can I come over and talk
yeah,
about it?"
exactly. And that's exactly how it goes down too. Shit, it could be somebody in his on his team that might shoot his shot. Like, hey, look, I could take you out of this situation.
This is
Things
crazy.
I'm doing by myself, even as someone married to a professional athlete. I would never be embarrassed to say that. I would never be embarrassed to say that. That means that I am a badass woman who knows how to figure shit out. It means that I am a wholly capable woman who has figured out how to make my life work with my three children and never
Pause it,
compromise on
TR.
a beat.
Pause it. You
No,
know what this
actually,
sounds like?
I'm done with her.
This sounds like you wanted to do a video to throw your marriage under the bus just so you can pat yourself on the back for doing stuff that all mothers do every day anyway. Here's the other thing though, TR. As a man, you have a very hard decision to make because one of the trade-offs that happens is the more into your work you are, the more successful you tend to be. This is where that work-life dynamic comes into play. How much time do you want to spend at home? How much time do you want to spend providing? Every man has to make that decision. It's a very hard and personal one. I've heard Shannon Sharp on his podcast say, look, I didn't spend a whole lot of time with my kids when they were little because I was providing for them. I wanted to make sure they didn't grow up the way I did. So I was always in the gym, working out, pursuing the next contract, pursuing the next ring. So we all got to make that decision. So make the decision. You chose this guy. You knew what he wanted to get into. So now you got to deal with. But it sounds like you want out, honestly.
Yeah. So the signs that I can tell maybe you're not in a happy marriage is when they say mom to three. Like, are you not married? You mean wife and mom to three? I'm telling you, I had a conversation with a friend like that, and she was like, "Well, what's the big deal?" I'm like, "Well, that sends out a sign that you might not be married or you're not happily married." I know everyone's gonna say like, "Well, that doesn't mean you're reading into it." That's exactly what the fuck it is. Then why can't you put apparently one of the most elusive titles in the United States is actually being a wife? I know it's people say it's easy to get married or something, but apparently people don't want the goddamn title. And then secondly, this woman, I know she's trying to launch her social media career, blah blah blah, but again, I can't tell this woman has like a kid outside of looking at a couple pictures here and there. So this is not a family account. I don't hear anything about, this is what she does for the family. She ain't advertising her family, and she just started looking like this. If I can,
Probably something else.
I don't know if she even has this on here, but she looked way different in some older photos. And look, I'm glad you can have your transformation, blah blah blah, and you should feel good about that though. But you're selling out your marriage. This is not you know, a this is like this is why Aisha Curry gets all the smoke. This is why Michelle Obama. This is why they all catch all this smoke though, because instead of praising their husband and saying like, "Look, he saved me from my situation," they end up just destroying their relationship. They end up just trying to create these issues that they're not even running into. Like I mean, the baseball player, he doesn't even play in the minor leagues, right? Or he doesn't even play in I don't think he plays in the US minor leagues. I believe he plays in the Mexican baseball league or something. But I mean, you can look this stuff up though. But she's had conversations. She's been involved with conversations about being a athlete's wife. It's not all fun and games and everything, blah, blah, blah. Look, at the end of the day, I don't know what you thought the fuck it was, but you knew he was a baseball player. Not to mention, you had 3 kids. Your life is the kids, and then he provides the roof over the head. He provides you guys the ability to do activities. Look, no one would know who she is or what she's or I mean the amount of engagement she's had without her husband. This is all due to her husband. His money allows her to be elevated a little bit too, so she can have the social media profile. This is not her. This is because of him. And I bet you money he paid for the alterations in that body though, because again,
Hi, I'm married.
she did not look like this when they first met. So, and I imagine after having a few kids, things are going to change a little bit. Things will get a little droopy. This looks like either a mommy makeover or this is some miracle bra or whatever it is.
Yeah, one of my biggest social media pet peeves. I'll see a married woman, and you called it out first. She only acknowledges her kids in her bio, and then it gets
You guys,
even
I fear.
more annoying when you see that they acknowledge it's mother, wife, like out of order,
Yeah.
completely out of order and out of pocket. If you are not getting married with the intention that your spouse is the most important person, don't get married. I'm
Yeah.
telling you, it's out of order and it's a formula for divorce. Now, if you are properly managing your life, you'll never have to choose between your spouse and your kids. But at the end of the day, your spouse comes first, your kids come second, and everybody else falls in a ranked category in a separate box.
Hey, what is that
And
called?
this ship is out of order.
What is that? What is that umbrella called? The in the
I it's,
Bible?
it's I just call it the Christian hierarchy. But truthfully, even if you're not a Christian, it's a consistent principle. If you're going to marry somebody, you're essentially stating they're the most important person in your life.
Yeah. See, here it is again. I just work here. I don't got no problem with her doing the digital stuff. She should stay off the internet because she's selling out her marriage. But look, mommy to all of her, we don't even need to know your kids' names. And looks like she's a little bit more on the kids side of things, or the family side of things on this side. And she does, showcase her husband. But I mean, look at this. Look, like we're enjoying it, boys. Like like if you want your wife out there looking like this, hey, I mean, if you got a good looking wife, fine. But like I said, this is not what she had a picture here. I don't know. I don't know if these are like well, maybe this one's a little bit better. So yeah, she's definitely a little bit different. She says she worked very hard to get the body that she has. Again, no one's knocking for that, but don't be selling out your marriage. This man is, yeah, he has to be away from his family. You think he wants to be like that? Shit, I feel bad for the military bros because you have to be around, you got to be away from your family for like, months, years. Like you got to be away from your family. And I don't want to hear anything about, these women are like, oh, I didn't know. Like, yes, you did know. You guys have a fucking community where you all can get together and have build friendships. But I'm telling you, man, a lot of these people, a lot of these wives, like they look happily married, but obviously they're not. That's why I don't be going off of like people's pictures though. I mean, this is a really, really good picture. But at the end of the day, when it comes to like married men, there's only a few married men that I'll take their advice from. MC, you're one of them, and it's a very short list after that because a lot of these married men, they're letting their wives say reckless shit on social media. They're letting them to pretty much publicly, whether directly or indirectly, destroying their marriages. And then you have them just posting wildly, like just you can't be posting stuff like you're supposed to. You want to be the wife and you want to be a mother. You got to put this up. That's why, I mean, again, I can't even put Savannah James out of a lineup. Like, and I know she has posted, like, I'm not saying she's never posted anything, but it's very few and far between. And again, I barely know what Savannah James looks like because she rarely embarrasses, LeBron James. And I think she tried to do a podcast, but maybe that folded. But that was a blessing in disguise because she don't need to be doing a podcast. And LeBron James is, still actively in the NBA. And so she doesn't need to be trying to build her brand off of his name.
Yeah, and look, man, you know what comes next. The ultimatum comes next.
Yeah.
It's either me or your career. So I hope
Well,
that dude. I've seen this story too many times, and I'm not wishing ill will on this marriage, but I've seen this story too many times.
yeah. And real quick, he actually retired last year. He just started playing this year because I wanted to look this guy up. Though I'm like, man, what is going on here? Like, is there something wrong here? Like, there's got to be more to this story where I can be like, okay, maybe they made a lot of money and they don't make a lot of money, but they've never made a lot of money. Well, from his contracts, he's never had that much. He's never made like that game, changing baseball money. So I think it's wild that he probably doesn't think it's an issue though, but that train is never late. It is never late. And the way that she's acting, I wouldn't be surprised if they get, I mean, I don't want to say it out loud, but I wouldn't be surprised if there's a change of the family where she's trying to upgrade.
Yeah, and ironically, she's doing the same thing that I just accused Angel Reese of doing in the last conversation. She's taking private conversations and making it public,
Yeah.
and putting weaknesses in the armor that's protecting her home team.
Yep. Yep.
This is crazy, man.
No, you're right. You give everyone a chance to, I mean, pause, come between you and your wife. Like there's an opportunity there, and it's unfortunate the kids shouldn't have to deal with that, but they don't ever think about, hey, protecting the family. If a woman tries to steal your man, like we look at the earlier video, you know how to go in attack mode. Well, who protects you from your family then? Apparently, it needs to be the conversation that needs to be had.
Man, if you need to be protected from your own family, that's a whole different conversation for another time. But
Well, probably social media is really is what they need protection from, though. But they do whatever they want to do. So
and to be clear, when we talk about stuff like this, we're not wishing destruction on marriages, but we are simply telling men you have to command your respect. You have to. She has to respect you. If you're going to stay with her, she has to respect you. Period. We want respect first, then everything else will fall into place over time. But it starts for men with respect, and women, y'all got to realize that.
yeah, facts. So all
And not
right,
and not respect the way you see it, the way men see it.
yeah. I think that's I think that's something that women say they don't understand, but I think they really do though. Because when it comes to like working in the office, they always know what's going on. They know exactly what's expected of them.
Yeah, I'm with you 100%